Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. We have law professor Joe Potuto again. Thank you, Joe, for being here. How are you?
Anytime, and I'm fine. So
Great. So we were both just talking about how neither one of us is a real estate law expert, much less in the state of Florida. So, but hey, this is YouTube. You get what you get, and we have a real law professor and a real practicing attorney. So we'll try to do what we can.
that's right. We'll muddle through.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll just show first let's look at this property here. This is the lawsuit subject property, which is this white building, 731 Northwest 56th Street, Miami. And Charlie and his friend Alex purchased this property. I'm not sure how long ago, but they own it as a business entity. And of course, since Charlie has been sent to prison for life, then of course, poor Harvey is the one who has to deal with this. Okay, so what do you think of this property here?
It's nicer looking than I imagined from reading the complaint and the response. It's odd. It's sitting between two buildings that look very different. You've got that lower. Oh no, I guess they're about the same height, but it just looks a little different.
Yeah, this looks almost industrial back here.
Yeah, it does
what that is.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, so it's not like Brickell Avenue where Harvey and Donna lived.
No, it's not.
Yeah, so you can see all these tiny apartments.
Yeah, looks like motels almost, doesn't it?
Yeah, with those exterior units here, but that's not their building. So theirs is this one, 731. And I think you can also see some other pictures of it. I mean, there are some pictures there that make it look pretty bad. So,
oh, really? This is the best look?
Yeah, that's actually pretty good because the first picture I saw was from just the Google Maps. And, well, you can see how beat up the parking lot looks.
Yeah.
Yeah, these huge cracks. And what is that? Like a hunk of carpet?
You got me.
Hopefully there's no dead body there, but I guess that's near a dumpster or something. There's like trash there. There's some places where you can actually see a listing here. And the one that this one looks actually decent because it looks like they have a newly renovated bathroom here. Yeah, with that fake marble looking stuff.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
No, it's not terrible. It's got a window.
Yeah, and probably there's like laminate floors.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. It looks worse from the outside.
But it still looks like even look across the way, they look like motels, There's no parking right near there, and you've got that little balcony that a lot of motel rooms have. So,
yeah, plus those exterior AC.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, what a weird mixture because this kitchen looks pretty fancy and updated, doesn't it? Okay. So that's
the palm trees look nice. I mean,
yeah. But it kind of has this low budget motel feel.
Yeah, it does. Very much so.
Yeah, especially with all the cracks in the pavement there. So, yeah. Okay. So what did you think of the complaint? Let me show it. It's pretty long.
Well, I was struck even before looking at the complaint and how Harvey is running around, trying to litigate or, look at property. I mean, he had that one, I don't know if that was ever resolved. My guess is no, when he was trying to get Charlie's money back from that purchase of the place in Vietnam. And now he's spending a lot of time on this property, and his life. And so that's what I was thinking about. His life can't be very pleasant. I mean, he's looking at his son in prison, his wife, jail, now prison. I don't know how much contact he has with his daughter. He's interacting with son and wife really through phone calls, or now with Donna, he goes and was seeing her regularly. And it looks like the rest of the time he's litigating everything. At least that's all we see. The visible part is the litigating and trying to keep track of the money. I thought on the complaint and response, I mean, as we started out saying, neither of us is an expert in real estate law. I thought the complaint, if what's alleged in the complaint is accurate, it does appear as though Berkovich, the other owner, did things that I would not want my partner in real estate to be able to do. I mean, it appears as though, if the complaint is accurate, that he added 2 companies that he owned to manage. And the complaint says that he didn't get anybody's agreement to do that when he added them as members of this limited liability corporation. He didn't get anybody's agreement to do it. And the complaint says he's been keeping the rents from the apartments to himself and wouldn't give Harvey an accounting of where the money was. Claims that Charlie really doesn't have a property ownership in the place, although according to the complaint, or it might have been the reply, he was filing income tax saying that Charlie was a part owner. So it looks, I don't know real estate law, but at least on its face, it looks as though what the partner, the other owner of the property, was doing doesn't look like what I would expect another owner to do. But Judy, I don't know how you felt about it.
Mm-hmm. Yes. When I first saw the complaint, I thought, oh, well, it does seem like this so-called friend kind of took advantage of the fact that Charlie is now locked up. So he's just taken total control of this property. And it sounds like Harvey has tried to get information, but this friend/business partner is not cooperating or just taking control and doing whatever he wants. That's what it sounds like.
That's exactly how it felt to me too. Now, we don't know the extent to which the allegations in the complaint can be proved, but the motion to dismiss the partner's response doesn't really address the merits of the claim. It has all these procedural reasons why the complaint should fail. It cites statutes and, it says you didn't do this the right way. But I didn't find a lot in there that said, and everything you alleged was not factually true. Now they don't have to, excuse me, go ahead.
Yes. Well, I think that's the difference between the motion to dismiss versus a summary judgment motion. So a motion to dismiss is even more, would you say, superficial, because it just looks at the allegations in the complaint and says, these are so flimsy, you don't even state a cause of action under the law. So I think that's why they didn't go into nitty-gritty of back and forth. That would be for summary judgment later.
And that I think you're absolutely right. On the motion to dismiss, you're supposed to assume that all the facts alleged are accurate, and then you say, even so, there's no claim here. But it is unsatisfying to those of us who read the complaint and then want some feel for, is what they're saying an accurate rendition of what happened, because you don't get it from the answer, from the motion to dismiss. But you're right, you don't get it because it's not the right time to do it.
Yeah. Well, this I think is worth mentioning. So originally, Charlie owned this property and he had a corporation before 2020. But then he's the one who, I don't know why, he agreed to transfer 50% to his friend in
Well,
exchange for 243,715.
which went into the limited liability corporation. It didn't go to Charlie directly. It went into the corporation that was running
Yes.
the building. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So what was going on in 2020? Well, I guess by then he was already scared of being arrested because that was years after that arrest affidavit came out.
Yeah, it doesn't seem as though if Berkovich was a friend, and so was Scott Radius in Vietnam. It doesn't seem as though he picks his friends very well. I mean, and I guess he breaches, the rule that says you don't go into business with your friends either. I mean, because this is at least twice he's done this.
Yeah, it kind of makes you think like Charlie would do stuff with so-called friends as long as it benefited him or he could use them in some way. So I do wonder what was the impetus that caused Charlie to transfer 50% interest to Alex back in spring of 2020.
Yeah.
Well, oh, you know what? So Sigfredo Garcia was convicted, I think, October 2019. So perhaps he really was feeling more and more scared. Plus, there was that child support case. Yeah, I think the child support case was 2019.
But you would think then it would make sense to sell outright if you need the money to just get the money. It may be because the Berkovich says that he had to do capital, at least there's the suggestion somewhere in here that he did capital improvements. It may be that there needed to be a substantial outlay of money to get the building or keep the building in shape. And Charlie didn't want to spend that money on the building and therefore did this so that, his friend put that, we're assuming it's his friend. I guess I don't know. You may know.
Yes, they were friends.
Okay.
From what I've heard.
So he got his friend to put the money into the building to help with into the limited liability corporation that was overseeing the building so that they could get whatever needed to be done. So he may not have walked away with money, but at least he wasn't in a position where he had to spend money at that time. So that's possible. But I don't know. The building supposedly might be worth 1.6 million now. That's
I guess so.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Berkovich apparently is a pretty wealthy guy whose wife is a dentist, and it looks like she has a very successful dental practice, and Charlie did work for her in the past. So it seems like they were pretty close friends, both the husband and the wife.
Well, again, shouldn't get into business with your friends.
Yes, exactly. That's a way to ruin your friendship.
Yeah. The other thing that I thought about was if you assume, and I can only assume because I don't know, they were citing a lot of Florida statutes on special rules with regard to LLCs, the limited liability corporations. But if the lawyer who did the motion to dismiss is correct, and as I say, I don't know Florida law, then it appears as though once again the Adelsons have picked a lawyer to represent them that didn't handle the matter as well as might have been handled. Because what the motion to dismiss says is this is an LLC, and some of the things you want to do here don't apply to LLCs under Florida law. And also it's a single entity, and you should have moved for dissolution, not for what you did I mean, if they're right, then part of what's happening in the complaint is that they didn't allege the right things and they didn't ask for the right relief. But I don't know.
Yeah. So I'm just waiting to see what a judge is going to do. I assume there has to be a hearing scheduled, and then they'll get a decision.
Right.
Yeah. So this does make you feel a little bit sad that, this is awful that Harvey is 81. And in addition to his wife being in jail, now convicted of murder, then he has to deal with his son's property problems.
Right. And he also has to worry about.
So there's some dispute there as to who's going to pay for an appraisal.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other part in here. I mean, look what they say. That's the document before they got to this stage where Berkovich says, well, I'll sell to you. And if you want an appraisal, fine, but you have to pay for the appraisal and you have to pay for closings, and you have to pay for any gains on the property that I have to, my taxes on any gains on the property. That's that third one. Both of those seem a little much. If in fact there's a valid claim, you would think at most they should split. But the third one really seems like an overreach, because if you achieved a gain on property that belongs to both of you, I don't see why I should be paying taxes on all of yours. So it just, it would be interesting to see what's going on behind the scenes with regard to all this.
Yeah.
I would guess if the motion to dismiss is granted, that it would be, given what the defendant says in the motion to dismiss, that the judge would give leave for Harvey to go back out and replead, because they're telling him not that, that you're losing absolutely, but you didn't allege the right things. So you would think that the judge would allow him to go back in and fix it.
Yeah, exactly. That's typically what would happen anyway. So, let's see. So they're asking for partition, which is a judicial sale of this. Okay.
And the defense says you can't have a partition because there's only one owner. And what are you partitioning if there's one owner? I mean, that's one of the things they say. You didn't allege anything other than, one owner. So you can't have a partition. It's just, I wish I knew more. Well, I don't know that knowing more real estate law would actually help us. We'd have to know
corporate law
and Florida corporate law. I mean, even if you knew corporate law generally, they're citing statutes and cases interpreting statutes. And at one point, the defense says, well, there was this statute, there were these court cases, but now there's the statute, so the court cases don't apply. And then Charlie's lawyer says, well, there's nothing that says they don't apply now because there's a statute. The statute doesn't cover anything. And I don't know what Florida law is going to say on that. And I also don't know if he got an offer earlier, and I'm just wondering what lawyer fees and things would cost. I guess he's making an economic judgment that the litigation is worth it, rather than to have just taken what the first offer was. What was it, $665 or something in a lump sum payment, or it was going to be $800 something. And now I don't know that I've got the numbers quite right. If it was paid over time. And Charlie said, no. Harvey said, no, I want an appraisal. And they gotten here. I don't know what lawyers cost either.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure nobody's going to do this pro bono. So typically they'd have to pay for each hour, give a retainer deposit. So.
But you wouldn't think, putting everything else aside, it seems to me that Charlie must have some right to some money out of this property, because the way this reads, it was his property. He sells half of it to his friend. They put it into the LLC for the property. He hasn't been getting the rents from the property. It looks like since he went into jail that the payments to him kind of stopped. And now he doesn't have the property. He hasn't been getting the rents. So surely there's something in there that belongs to him.
Yeah, yeah. So from the complaint, it does look like, perhaps Harvey / Charlie, they do have some sort of plausible claim, but whether they phrased it correctly in a legally sound manner, that's the question.
Yeah.
So let's see here. Have you ever been involved in litigation?
Me?
Yes. If you care to answer.
You mean as a plaintiff or defendant? No.
No?
No. Have you?
Yes, actually. So, yeah, unfortunately, but it was completely bogus. I talked about this just a couple of weeks ago on a member's live stream, just being sued 4 times by a crazy pro se person.
Oh, yeah, I heard you say that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it was a slam dunk case, but it still made me mad that I was so distracted and stressed out, still thinking about these stupid lawsuits.
Well, it takes you time, it takes you effort, it takes emotional energy, and it costs money. Usually it costs money, even if you're right, sooner or later it costs money.
Yeah. Well, ultimately it didn't cost me anything because I was going to represent myself, but it's just one more thing. It's like, geez, what do I do to deserve this? This is crazy.
I know.
And it just kind of weighs on you, just like work, like some litigation case that won't go away. So,
Well, didn't Harvey, when Wendi was younger, didn't he lose most of or all of his money in some scheme or other?
Some Ponzi scheme? Yeah, but see, I don't know whether to believe that because I think that was Rashbaum who said that during Charlie's trial. So clearly they still had plenty of money to send their kids to private schools, colleges. And
well, Wendi had a scholarship, didn't she?
I don't know, but was it like a full scholarship? Yeah.
I
mean, Brandeis University is still like an expensive private school.
It is.
So is University of Miami. So
very expensive.
Yeah. Although Charlie did gripe about how he had student loans, but Wendi didn't. So
but Wendi had even if it wasn't a full scholarship, her scholarship might have been
partial.
Well, what Charlie was getting in loans, she may have gotten outright because she had that scholarship. But I don't think I don't get the impression that Harvey is a financial, heavyweight. And certainly Charlie isn't.
No, I think Harvey is. I mean, he built a successful dental practice for all those years. And talking to the people who did work for him, it sounded like he had control of the reins and he knew what was going on financially. So, you can't run a business for close to 40 years by being a financial idiot. Right?
I guess so. But Charlie seems to be a little dodgy. I mean, certainly that Vietnam deal was a little questionable, and he trusted his friend, and because it was dodgy, he lost his money. Because the friend, so far as I know, the friend never paid Harvey anything for the money that Charlie put in to buy that house or whatever it was.
Yeah, the villa. Yeah. Who knows? I mean, we haven't heard anything else behind the scenes. I was kind of looking forward to hearing Scott Radius testify because he was on the list.
You would think on cross somebody would have asked about that. We would have learned something. That's true.
Yeah. But
and I have the impression, because of the cash that was kept in the dental office, that some of the money paid by patients at the dental office was in cash.
Yes.
Because didn't they say they had that safe that had a lot of cash in it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that sounds a little,
dodgy.
when you have cash, you don't always declare it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the part from Berkovich's attorney's motion to dismiss, where they are saying you can't partition it because what is it? Because it's a corporation? Let me look back here.
No, it's because it's a single corporate entity.
Yeah.
So if you got one owner, who you're petitioning it with is their claim.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's more like a deadlock between the people within the corporation.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they say you have to dissolve the corporation. You can't partition. That's not the right relief.
Okay. Yeah. When I read this, I thought this sounds pretty persuasive, but I don't have the time to go and look at these cases and
Nor do
jeopardize them and all that stuff.
Nor
I was
do
like,
I.
this sounds like work. It's like somebody paid me, I'd be able to do it.
That's right. Well, and I don't have the time. I also have no interest in this area of law to go figure out what's going on. For a client, you do it, but I'd rather read a good novel or watch a criminal trial than to try to figure out what Florida law says about whether you can partition a single entity corporation. I mean,
yeah. Okay. So they're saying Harvey, as power of attorney, lacks standing to seek a partition.
Yeah, because they say he's not an owner.
And there's no declaratory relief.
And that was an interesting argument because they say essentially there's no declaratory relief because Harvey has already pled everything, which I'm not sure is the way you do. And that's what Charlie's lawyer says in the response or the reply. That doesn't sound to be quite what declaratory relief means. It means you can know everything. And then the judge says, and on the law, this is what the law means. This is how the law will be applied. This proposed operating agreement, the amendment that was never signed, but he filed it according to Harvey's lawyer. According to Harvey, it was filed. I don't know how you can file it without all names on it, unless he filed it and only put his name on it, which seems to me to be a fraud on something or other. If you file a document and say, I want to add these two members to my board, and I sign as the only member that has a legal right to do it, when you've got a 50% owner sitting on the side. That's why it's just, I'm curious about it, but certainly even if we looked at the law, we wouldn't get what the actual facts are that are going on here. So,
yeah, and that's why I would predict that the motion is going to get denied because the judge will probably say there needs to be more discovery. There's something valid here potentially. So let's look into it.
Right. Mm-hmm. And that seems to me to be, I don't know how you feel, but to me, that seems to me to be right, because it does from the complaint, it does seem as though something went on that maybe shouldn't have gone on. And it seems to me the court should say, you've pled enough to have us take a look at it, see whether something went on that shouldn't have gone on. But they are a litigious family, Judy.
Yeah, they're constantly involved in different lawsuits, getting sued, suing other people. So, of course, I covered that Wage and Hour case last year where the maintenance guy sued Harvey Adelson. So I assume that's settled.
Yeah. Well, it does seem, doesn't it, that to some extent, all of this might be a little bit of people on the outside taking advantage of the fact that the litigant on the other side is in prison. And
Yes,
even though
of
you've got
course.
the family member, he's still in prison. So if you're a little unscrupulous or you think, hey, I've got a claim, and I don't have to, go out of my way to let you litigate it. I think I have a lawful claim. You're in prison, and I'm going to just run on what I believe to be true.
Yeah, that's right. That brings to mind one of the other cases that I think I covered it this year, which is where Charlie got sued for credit card debt. And I'm pretty sure somebody fraudulently applied for a credit card using his name because the statements were going to some address in Prince George's County, Maryland. And those charges were after he was arrested.
So, predators on prisoners. Or of prisoners.
Yeah, that's what some people said in the comments, that's actually pretty prevalent, where people find out someone's in jail. So then they start doing shady stuff. For example, opening up credit cards. I mean, I don't even know how you would get someone's social security number or whatever to set up a credit card for yourself and then think you can get away with it, but somebody did.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. And how do you show what your financial status is in order to get the credit card? I mean, you got to show something, a work history, or, I don't know. I'm not a clever enough person to do it.
Yeah. Sometimes I wonder, it's like, wow, these criminals were actually sort of crafty and smart, because I wouldn't even know how to figure out how to do this. Oh, but you know what? There were some people commenting who said sometimes it even happens within the jail staff, where they will take the person's credit cards or they have their private information and then do these shady things.
I didn't know you could bring a credit card into prison with you. What do you use it for once you're in there?
No. I mean, maybe they had it on them when they first got.
Oh, I see.
Like intake, they have to dump out all your purse belongings and
I see.
And stuff. Yeah. So, okay. Well, so this is sort of interesting if you're really into real estate and corporate law issues. So the takeaway is, don't go into business with your friends.
Or don't go into business with the Adelsons would be my takeaway.
Yeah.
And it's interesting just seeing what Harvey is up to. I mean, it's an interesting picture of what he's spending part of his time on. He's getting to know a large number of lawyers. I mean, he knew Charlie's. I'm sure he met all of Donna's. Now he's got the lawyer for the real estate deal. And a lot of people would say that having a number of lawyers as your everyday, companions is not the ideal situation to be in.
Yeah.
I
Nobody's happy to see a lawyer, right? Nobody's happy. Yeah, we see a lot of unhappy, miserable people as part of our jobs. So, yeah. Let me see here. We'll check the comments then, since I sort of do have to get going soon for a family thing. So, hi. Hey, Allison. She said Mr. Wagstaff, who is the district attorney in San Mateo, called Lolly on Wednesday.
Who's Lolly?
Lolly is one of the YouTube commenters here.
Very nice.
Okay, well, thank you. Well, I hope you'll share what.
Yeah, what did he say?
Yeah, tell us what happened.
Yeah, we want to know. We can't figure out what's going on in this real estate deal. We should at least know what's going on
with Allison's mother's case.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Please support Allison Galvani's YouTube channel, which is here, My Father's Alibi. So, yeah. So, Joe, I really appreciated hearing your interview on her channel last week.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I was surprised. You said that your law school class was 30-something% women.
Yeah, I said about 30%, 28 to 30% women. Yeah.
Oh,
And then next year it was up to 48%, 47, 48%. Yeah.
that's a surprise because wasn't that 1970s?
74 about. Yeah, but Rutgers, I went to Rutgers, and Rutgers was ahead of the curve on a lot of the sort of the diversity and opening up the professions. Or at least the profession of law. So it's not, and in fact, Ruth Ginsburg was on the faculty there. Eva Hanks, who was another we should have been talking to her, very fine property law professor. So they had women on the faculty well before a lot of other law schools did. So, yeah.
Well, that's a real treat. What a privilege. So did you feel discriminated against while you were there?
Maybe I'm too obtuse to notice, but I've never felt discriminated against. And maybe as I say, I might be too obtuse, or it may be enough behind the scenes that I didn't see it. But one-on-one and in groups or interactions, I never felt that way. I mean, once in a while there would be comments, and I was so happy when they stopped, with moot court, where the judges on the bench would say, "Oh, it's so nice to see a woman as one of the advocates." And they were trying to be kind and they were trying to be gracious, but in fact, it was a little patronizing. And that went on for a number of years. You don't hear it anymore. You don't hear comments like that anywhere, in part because women are, prevalent in the practice, but in part because the judges on the bench, became younger or more cognizant of what the world was like. But and it was always hard to tell what to do because they were trying to be gracious and inclusive and kind, but it wasn't the right way to do it. At least for me, it was not the right way to do it. I told a friend once that when I would go to church and the priest would say, "Welcome," that offended me too, because I figured it was my church as much as his. And my friend said, "Oh, that dirty SOB saying welcome."
I think that's a little construing it too negatively when someone says welcome to you.
I know. It's a bad habit that I have. The glass half full defines me.
Well, but getting to what Adelson said, she said that Wagstaff also said he appreciated there's so much support aimed at an arrest, and we're talking about possibly arresting her father for the murder back in 1982.
Well, that's great.
That's good to hear. Let's see what else.
I hope that results in a decision to prosecute. I wrote another letter. I didn't for a little while because I didn't want to say the same thing that I had said because I didn't know whether the letters that were written to the assistant DA were given to the DA. But when the yogurt shop murderer, when they had that press conference about him and they had the family members of each of the four teenagers who were murdered speak, and they had several people from law enforcement, one person who did cold cases, who talked about, you could see how dedicated she was to getting these cold cases solved. And then they had law enforcement who had actually worked on the cold case and felt so gratified that they got it solved, that I thought that was a good segue into talking about how getting cold cases solved and, people who have committed those crimes, held responsible, was a really terrific thing to do. And so, I used that as my entree into writing that second letter. I'm glad they're helping.
Yes. Thank you so much. Yeah. For me, I didn't really know what else to write. So it's just kind of like, please take this seriously. You know, people are paying attention. And
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, you look at, Ellen Greenberg, where the woman who had stabbed, several knife stabs in her back.
It was like 27.
And they say suicide and they won't reopen it. I mean, it's a travesty of justice. So it's really, I think it's commendable that DA Wagstaff put resources on it and people on it to take another look at it. Oh, I'm getting more channel names. Look at that. I think it's going to be Gavel and Gab. And
I like that.
Yeah. Because that was where most of the people who in the chat who responded said, and I thought you all are the experts on this, so I'm going to go. But I like Joe on justice. Rule of Joe. Now, I like that. If I had the power that went with that channel title, I'd go for that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, that would be funny. Yeah. Maybe you can tie it in with something to do with coffee, Cup of Joe. that could be your brand marketing, selling.
Cup of Joe wouldn't suggest law, would it?
What?
Oh.
Yeah. Let me see what else, if anybody had questions here. Does Joe think Georgia Cappleman will wait to get a Wendi indictment until after Donna's sentenced?
Oh, that's an interesting question, KCL. It's really an interesting question. If they're going to indict, I don't know that there would be any particular reason why they would wait until after the sentencing. But it's kind of a neat idea that they might time it, get Donna's case out of the way and then say, okay, now we're focusing on Wendi. I was sure that and I think everybody else was, Judy, and I think I heard you say this, I was sure they wouldn't do anything before Donna was convicted. Because if, let's say, it had been a hung jury, they would still need Wendi again to testify. But now, I don't know. I mean, Georgia was on vacation for a few days. I think she may have other cases. I mean, one of the things that would be, Joe knows prose.
Or it looks like pro se.
Or pro se, yeah.
Pro se.
I just think it would be interesting to know, and here's something else we don't know, and that is what other cases Georgia has at the moment and how many of them are coming up to trial. Because even just doing the indictment, you've got to spend some time on getting that right. Probably not a lot of time. I mean, they've had indictments before, to be one of the lead investigators who will go before the grand jury, but you still have to devote some attention there. And I guess that maybe if she's really busy with other things, they might wait. I also think from what I hear, and this is of course only hearsay because I know no one in that office, but from what I hear, the DA there may want to sit down and talk to the team, the lawyer, particularly the two lawyers who have been on the case, maybe the couple of the investigators, to see what they think, to review the evidence, to see if they think there's enough that they can say that in good faith they think they can get a conviction beyond a reasonable doubt. I don't know when the grand jury meets or how often it meets in Tallahassee. We're coming up onto the holidays. I mean, we're in October now. And, courts, they don't shut down, but they're holiday days and people sometimes take family vacations over that time. So that's a long, long answer to a simple question. I don't know whether she is waiting until Donna is sentenced, but I like the idea that might be what she's waiting for.
Yeah, that's the impression I got. And it could have been from hearing what Dave Ehrenberg had to say.
Well, Dave Ehrenberg said that once Louis Rivera got on the stand and you said Wendi's name, that the DA would have to indict. That was on STS, and I asked him why, and he said, well, he didn't say it quite this way, but essentially, I believe he said the political pressure once Wendi is named, if you think you have enough, the fact that now it's out in the public, that you've got a witness who's saying that, whether the witness is saying it from personal knowledge or not, is something that would have some influence on the decision to go forward.
Yeah. And the problem, of course, with Luis Rivera is that he never directly met with Wendi or talked to her directly. So he just heard stuff through Sigfredo.
Right.
And
right.
maybe Katie, but it seemed like, just as Kappelman said, they had these train cars, which they thought was just such a great strategy to make sure the rich family members were blocked off.
And whoever came up with that visual, that picture of explaining that it went from maybe Donna to Charlie to Magbanua to Sigfredo and back again, that was a great visual. Great, because it made it so easy for the jury to be able to see exactly what the phone records were showing. It was really great. I did, excuse me, Judy, I listened to you doing the transcript of the deposition of Sarah Youssef. And if people on this chat have not heard it yet, you really should go listen. I thought it was great reading. But I thought listening to that, it was fairly clear why they didn't bring her in to testify against Donna, because she really didn't have much to add to Donna's case. It was a little, but they had, a lot on that subject anyway. But I thought there was more with regard to Wendi. And in fact, I may do when I go active on the channel. That's one of the things I want to do, to look at Sarah Youssef's testimony in particular and how it can be used. Another thing I'd like to do is go through the evidence on Wendi and what would be admissible and not, depending on whether she testifies. And I am going to do what derivative use immunity is with lots of examples.
Yeah, because everybody keeps asking about that over and over and over.
Yeah,
and some
because it's
still
not
think
easy.
She got immunity.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy. And there's a part of it, frankly, that I don't know. And I have done a fair amount of research. I've talked to some lawyers. All the lawyers say one thing, and all my research tells me something else. It's very frustrating. So.
Yeah. Can you imagine how hard it must be for, say, Judge Everett, because he has to make all these decisions so quickly. And it's like, how do you keep track of all these nuances and exceptions and hearsay?
And I think that the prosecutors, if I would have one criticism of them, it would be that when there is a motion made, not all of them, I mean, Donna's lawyers made a lot of really, motions with very little merit. But on the ones that had some meat to them, the prosecutor does not write a response and leaves it to the judge to do the research and write the answer. And it's not that Judge Everett can't do it. I think he does a great job. But I think it's a lawyer's job to assist a judge and provide the evidence and make the best argument for your side, and not simply leave it to the judge to respond to what the other side did. And that's the one place where I would criticize them, that on a couple of the motions at least, I think they should have written something to respond. I mean, it didn't hurt them. The judge found the law and did a great job of explaining it and deciding, but I just think they should have done it. I would love to do commentary for trials also. I did the STS, the Donna's trial, and I got a real kick out of it. And I loved the comments and questions from people in the chat. And it was a lot of fun for me to try to explain some of the things that were going on during the trial. So I appreciate everybody who wrote a question, even if, and Judy knows this, the questions and comments come by so fast and you're trying to pay attention that it's very hard to catch all of them or note all of them. So I felt really bad that I couldn't respond to all of them, but I thought you all did a great job and I had a lot of fun, and I missed it when it ended. The next morning I thought, now what am I going to do? I'm not interacting with people in the chat anymore. Who am I going to talk to this morning?
That's why you need to create your own channel then. So you make
and fun. I would like to do more commentary if I can, if I can figure out a way, because I am not a techie, and I would have to find a way to get the hearing or the trial, the download, and I don't even know what the words are. Download,
the feed,
whatever. That's right. So you know the words, the feed.
Yeah, because you don't want to get copyright strikes or have your live stream get taken down, because that happened to me early on during Panua's trial, because I didn't realize that you can't just take somebody else's feed on your live, because a lot of these bigger channels, they will give you a strike, or they'll somehow figure out that you're just bootlegging their.
But for trials, when there's one, when the court says there's going to be one entity or outlet that's going to be doing the live for everybody, then they can't control it, because you can't be designated as the monopoly, outlet, and then say nobody else can use it. So I think
that's what I'm not sure. But specifically for the Leon County Court stuff, there is an official court feed. But I was trying to show the Tallahassee Democrats live stream, which then they got me, because then my whole thing disappeared. And I was like, shoot, I have to edit out all the trial parts just with me talking a little. So
copyright law is not, again, I know a lot more about copyright law than I know about real property in Florida, but it is also not, not an area of expertise. But I was told by a couple of lawyers that it's fair use if you take 3 or 4 or 5 minutes and then interject some commentary. And I know some copyright professors, and I am going to sit down with them and find out, what it is they say you can do or not do. But before I even get there, I have to figure out how I get it. That's my major. After I get it, I can worry about what the law lets me do with it.
Yeah, if you can get it directly,
get it.
Yeah, you have to get it directly through the court feed to note that this is official. And
but I don't know how to do that. I mean, I wouldn't no more know how to find a court feed as I would how to do brain surgery right now. That's what I have to learn how to do. And believe me, you don't want me to do surgery on your brain.
Okay. Well, thank you, Janet Gomez. Thank you for your super chat. I appreciate that. So last question, Joe, did you see the Ruth Markel interview with the Canadian Jewish?
No, I did not. Where was that?
You should see it. Yeah, I saw it. It's very good. It was only about half an hour, and I'm pretty sure it's called like the Canadian Jewish Network or something from maybe 2 weeks ago.
I'll look for it. I've been busy trying to follow the New York Yankees recently. And I was very pleased, that they won last night. We're going on to the next round. But that does take away a lot of my time, because, you have to really pay attention when your team is playing.
Okay, there it is.
See, you did that. And you did that on the spur of the moment. I am more than impressed. I am in awe.
Just search, because I saw this before.
I can't do this and search at the same time. I can multitask some things, but I can't even single task tech.
Yeah. So this is the very good interview.
Okay, I'll find it. Thank you.
Ruth Markel. So
thank you.
I'll take it off the screen. Yes. Sorry, I do have to get going before I have relatives who are mad. So I've got to get going. But thank you so much for your time. It's always great to talk to you. And
same
you
here.
Always have excellent legal insight, which most people don't have. So it's wonderful.
Well, I
to
think
hear
most
from
of
you.
your guests or all of your guests do, and you certainly have it on your own. So,
Oh,
but thank you. I enjoy
trying.
being here. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, sure. So hope you guys will come back Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern. It might be a little more laid back and silly, but Jackie St. Germain and a trial watcher named Nadine will be the special guests on Sunday. So we'll just do some sort of open discussion then. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Professor Potuto.
Thank you.
We'll be in touch. Okay.
Hopefully. Okay. So
Yeah.
long,
Take
everybody.
care.